Hello there.
I'm Robert.
And I'm Vanessa.
Travis.
And we are late to the party, and it's our final galactic edition of
Better Late Than Never.
Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Formerly, Revenge of the Jedi.
Yes, but obviously Jedi don't seek revenge, so Return of the Jedi is what they use. Granted, they use it better later on with Revenge of the Sith.
Makes
of
more
course,
sense.
why wouldn't the Sith seek revenge?
Of
They
course.
do it in absolutes.
And that is what we get with this one, is the absolute story. We know it's coming to an end. At least at that point, the Skywalker saga was done. Yes, they titled them Episode 4, 5, and 6, which meant mentally we were going to go back to tell 1, 2, and 3. So their job here is done. But the job is not done for the crew going after Han Solo in the very beginning of this film.
Nope.
So,
This movie released May 25th, 1983. Budget of $32 to $42 million, so way more expensive to make than the other two. Had a box office about $475 to about $572 million. Still a crap ton of money. Not as popular as A New Hope, but very good. Directed by Richard
Marquand.
Thank you. You know I suck at names.
yes.
He did
He's going to go off elegant to a Marquand.
The soundtrack, of course, by John Williams.
Yep.
One of the best soundtracks out there. This is my favorite Return of the Jedi. Is the favorite
Of the
Star Wars movies all
Total.
around. Yep.
Mine too. So, let's take a look at a retro reaction for Return of the Jedi now.
Return for the climactic clash between the forces of good
So
and
epithetic.
So it
Again.
looks the
evil.
same,
Return
you
to
know,
a
the star.
galaxy far,
Well,
far
it could be
away.
the same. Ooh, it doesn't.
So beautiful.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Oh, snap.
spoilers.
Oh,
good
I like that
transition.
cut.
Yeah.
In Star Wars
Speeder bikes.
The battle for freedom rages on.
There you go.
The heart of a hero.
With his blue lightsaber.
Yeah.
Courage of a rebel.
I love how cocky he is.
The strength
Get
of
some,
a
Leia.
leader.
Everyone's
The
crushed right
loyalty of
there.
comrades. The power of the Force.
Oh, snap.
The cunning
Did
of
Fortuna got a second billing to Vader.
Yep.
No.
Oh, no.
A destiny revealed.
Is Darth Vader my father?
A legend fulfilled.
There it is.
And
Ah,
epic
no.
heroes,
no.
villains, and aliens from 1,000 worlds.
Next reboot.
Salacious.
Yeah, it is.
style.
The quest.
Such a good
Oh
battle.
man.
It's operational.
The circle
Yep.
closes.
Woo.
The saga lives on. Return of the Jedi.
Looks like they cropped it so you wouldn't see Lando.
Begins May 25th at a theater in your galaxy.
In my galaxy?
Y'all didn't blow it up. Not keeping with the tradition. So, Return of the Jedi. Absolutely, I'd see this movie. I know he was about to ask.
No, I was going to tell you why I love this movie.
Sure.
It is everything in a movie you want. These battles, the action sequences, you got the ground battles going on, you got the space battles going on, you got the lightsaber and character battle going on. You just have so much going on, and it's telling a good story.
I do like that. That's a little bit of why I like this movie too. It's like, yeah, we got another Death Star, so it's like, okay, but it's unfinished, so that's kind of cool. It's like, oh, they're creating another one,
But it's unique.
Right. But what I like about this is the fact that they do have those interlinked shots from the different things that are happening. When you have the ground forces on, you know, the moon, then you have the air support in space, and then of course you've got Luke doing his own thing against Vader and the Emperor, and you finally get to see the Emperor too, that, you know, that ominous Emperor, and it's so great, and his like theme is so good too, especially when you get his theme there. What I also like about the battle, yeah, because we got a battle in the first Star Wars and towards the Death Star, so you're like, yeah, you're getting another Death Star battle too, but
Right.
but this time you've got the TIE fighters and you're going up against Star Destroyers as well. well. And, you know, they're kind of like being meticulous when it comes to having these characters and being all suave with the Empire. You know, you think like, oh, well, they got them the first time, they're going to get them this time. But the Emperor's like,
Yeah.
We're gonna run them. We're gonna trick them.
we're going to get you.
And it is the interweaving. It's the interweaving of character, of music, of scenes, of action. Like, they do interweave it pretty brilliantly for the Battle of Endor parts 1, 2, and 3, and Battle of Endor concert suite, created out of just the Battle of Endor by John Williams. But when it came down to, like you said, the interweaving and the overconfidence of the Empire, the concern of Jar Jar on the Death Star that is cut from the film, but always has this kind of concern that he is not ready right off the get-go. The Emperor is coming here. And then they cut him out of the movie. I wish we would have had Gerard in the countdown to the Death Star blowing up Endor. But granted, that would have been too similar when it came to what we were watching, I guess, ahead of time, except for instead of Leia watching it, it's Jar Jar watching it. But that is one element, though, I would have loved to see, because, yes, it is kind of a replay of what took place in the very first Star Wars, but at the same time, it is up the ante, and it shows the arrogance. Oh, you're going to just blow up the Death Star? We're going to rebuild it. So what? Why wouldn't they? They got the plans for the ultimate, super weapon, but they just need to fix what the problem was before. Well, guess what? It's under attack, and we figured out a way to take down your shield generator that protects. I couldn't even tell.
Breathe.
Oh, Lando down. When it comes to protecting the Death Star, and it ended up, faltering because of his arrogance and his overconfidence, while Luke just had his faith of his friends, and that was his downside, but it ended up not. It does come to the culmination, the final endpoint of all these characters, if you want it to be, when it comes to Luke, when it comes to Han, Leia, and Lando showing what his true hand was at the end of Empire Strikes Back, and sticking with it through Return of the Jedi.
That's what I also love about it too, is because yes, he did kind of, sell them out to the Empire, for he's trying to save himself. That's who Lando is. But then he comes back and he's like, no, I'm going to help you with this. And he flies the Millennium Falcon, and the way that he interacts with all of the other fighters at that time, I just love it too. It's like, my favorite quote from that movie too, it's like, where it's like, well, how could they be jamming us if they don't know
if we're coming?
But he pauses.
It's how he does it,
How could they be jamming us if they don't know if we're coming?
Break off the attack. All
The
fighters,
shields
pull
are still up.
Pull up.
I got the reading. Are you sure? Pull up. Oh, crap. Pull up. Enemies coming in. So
There's only one person that would jam me.
Lone Star!
Lone Star, and you get that escalation of Lando Calrissian joining the Rebel Alliance, leading the fleet, Gold Leader. You've got Admiral Akbar.
I love Admiral Akbar.
It's a trap!
Echoes through the eons when it comes to pop culture.
Yes.
Such small characters, but played huge parts in the world and their roles in the Star Wars universe. And even from the get-go, going back to rescue Han Solo when it comes to Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt was the looming presence over Han Solo for the entire Star Wars series. So to get a finality of that leading into, well, he's finally free of that burden, and we get to move on and go through this true battle off of the side mission, which is rescuing Han from Jabba's palace, to that epic final battle, and then Luke, of course, discovering that Leia is his sister. Going back to Dagobah, we lose Yoda, but that was the first time we get to see, an entity just kind of pass into the Force when it comes to, its time, versus, Obi-Wan getting struck down. That was the final battle of him getting struck away into the Force. And then Luke doing it again in The Last Jedi. So seeing that happen with Yoda, him just disappearing, it's part of the Star Wars canon, it's part of the Star Wars lore. It was great that the Force ghosts ended up coming back too with the final moments of the film.
The original script for Return of the Jedi actually had them, when they were ghosts Force, they'd actually come back to life at the end of the movie and join them into the celebration. So it's kind of like we didn't really die, we come back and we do that. Yeah, very stupid.
I'm
love
glad
the way
that they don't do that, and they kind of are just the presence there, just being with them, and they feel them, and Yeah, I don't like the fact that they would become like that. Doesn't make sense.
But at the same time, I mean, it's irrelevant because it wouldn't really fit the story either way. Because then why didn't they come back and just help Luke fight the Emperor?
Right.
Granted, though, they did kind of do that in The Last Jedi with Yoda, where he does kind of seem like he's there.
Right,
know?
but I mean, so was Obi-Wan. In Return of the Jedi, when Obi-Wan goes and sits on the rock and he's talking to Luke, it's basically Obi-Wan, but he's got a hue of blue around him. It looks like he's just there. It's not like a transparent thing like he was in Empire Strikes Back in the snow. Yeah. So you do get that kind of like real person there, but he is a Force ghost. And they can manipulate within the world of, where they're living because of Yoda being able to burn the tree. So when it comes to Return of the Jedi, though, they give us a tad of what they're capable of doing with the Force. You get the lightsaber throw from Darth Vader to take down the catwalk. That whole thing fell.
That whole thing just fell.
How?
I don't know. He was up there like, I can't do this. I threw the thing, and I just meant to hit him in the arm, and then the whole thing fell.
We're going to get sued if we're not careful. And you get that final moment, too, with the Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, when it comes to the conflict.
So
there is no conflict.
Strike him down with all his anger, and his path to the dark side will be complete.
And you do get that amazing conversation between the two, and you get to watch the corruption firsthand that is the Emperor and what Anakin Skywalker ended up falling
He was so
to.
quick to just throw Vader away and was like, you know what? I want the new hotness. You get that's the old stuff.
Yeah.
I want the new stuff.
Makes sense. You want the youngest, and his got destroyed before he could even use him. He would have been the essential, but he got burned away and butt kicked over by Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar.
He got the higher ground.
Yeah, but I think
never have the low ground to the high ground.
Going what Lucasfilm did after Return of the Jedi and go back and give us the prequels helped, for me at least, have a better understanding of how someone like Darth Vader could easily just switch sides in this movie. How Anakin needed his redemption. Lucas's mind had this whole story contained and wanted to present it to us.
Anakin's redemption, essentially, when it comes down to the Skywalker saga. Anakin Skywalker, if you look at it, could be the chosen one because he's the one that took down the Emperor.
He did bring balance.
Yeah, it just, he went the long way and the hard way with it.
I have theories about that, but maybe we'll get into that in a moment.
Okay, so this is the moment. Go.
So, tonight is the premiere of the last Skywalker movie.
The Rise of Skywalker.
So, there are a lot of theories on who Rey is, where she comes from. Mine kind of thinks she might be a clone of Anakin.
Clone of Anakin. So, I think she is a clone. I don't know if it's of Anakin, but that would make the most sense. Maybe a clone of the Emperor himself, and they come out looking different. I have no clue.
Because if she was a clone of Anakin, then technically he is bringing balance to the Force if this is the end of the Emperor. Finally.
Well, that kind of makes sense in keeping with the whole idea that Anakin Skywalker is truly the one that brought balance to the Force. But then again, Luke Skywalker is the one that actually persuaded, or at least helped Anakin Skywalker do and fulfill his prophecy. And that's basically, a 1-2 punch. The two of them completed the prophecy together. And yes, if Rey is a clone of a Skywalker, it does kind of lend credence to it is the Skywalker lineage that is the prophecy coming to bring balance to the Force. So yes, I could see it working, but we'll find out when we end up watching that. But either way, Return of the Jedi, still our favorite. I mean, I'll take drives to California with them. They've both experienced multiple drives with me where I just put on the Battle of Endor 1, 2, and 3, and we'll just quote the entire movie from the space battles back down to the Battle of Endor on the surface. When it comes to Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker battling each other out in front of the Emperor. So yes, the most quotable, and I think that is what resonates with this movie and myself so much, is the quotes, the dialogue, the sound effects. Again, sound design. Luke Skywalker's sound design for his lightsaber is gorgeous.
And
I love it.
It's awesome. Oh yes, I do, and I love the green. I love that it is green.
It's funny because it's blue in the trailer.
That's true, but then you also see later in the trailer that it's green when he's fighting Darth Vader.
Right.
But I just love the way that green looks as far as when you do the lightsaber. Like, I think it's just a more vibrant color than blue or red. So I'm excited, and definitely when I create my lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge, it will have a green kyber crystal in it.
Hopefully they'll come up with more attachments and stuff that you can do, because I can feel like everybody's got the same looking lightsabers. Like the Fallen Order, they do some pretty cool attachments on there that I would actually prefer. If I were to build one, I'd have those instead. But
that would be awesome as too. But I want to say that the fact that you can actually go to Endor too, I mean the Redwood Forest in California, that is Endor there. So it's awesome that you can, experience these places and just,
the filming
there.
locations,
you're like, where are
again,
the Ewoks? Where are they?
You can live Star Wars, and now you can go do it at Galaxy's Edge, or you can go to the filming locations, which is something we talked about in the New Hope reaction, is, those filming locations, those pilgrimages to Tunisia, and then, of course, the Dune Sea, that is the whole opening of the Return of the Jedi battle at the sail barge assault, is right here in Arizona as well. So I know, sail barge assault, come on, amazing, so amazing.
Well, we're waiting.
And when it comes to bringing things back that we do love, yes, we end up getting some of the same characters. We get Wedge returning and doing his thing and kind of redeeming himself from A New Hope, but the music, they do end up bringing back.
I'm going in. Here goes nothing.
TIE Fighter attack from A New Hope into Return of the Jedi. For me, just combining it with the music that was created, it almost was like a perfect attachment for John Williams to put with the music created in the Battle of Endor, to the point where it's like this man almost pre-planned what was going on with this song. Like, it is a perfect attachment to where it is Star Wars. You go and you ride Star Tours, and you're going to end up getting that song, and to put it in the most perfect moment going in to destroy the Death Star 2, with Wedge and with Lando, where Wedge, I believe, redeems himself from A New Hope.
He's already on his way out.
I'm already on my way out. Boom! And you take down that whole core, absolutely destroys the Death Star 2, blowing up, and then there's a celebration with something we haven't mentioned yet.
Ewoks.
Ewoks, plenty of Ewoks.
Which they were originally supposed to be filmed as the Wookiees, but I'm glad they went with the Ewoks. But did you guys ever realize that the Ewoks were going to eat Luke and Han?
Of course. Tasty.
They were just going to eat them. They were roasting them over a fire. No one ever talks about that.
No, everyone talks about it. It's just that it's what they do, man. They ate those stormtroopers. They ate the scout troopers. That's why they had their helmets and they're banging on them. We knew what was going on. We didn't know what was going on as kids, but as adults, you're like, you know what? They some carnivorous motherfuckers right there. The freaking Ewoks. But they're friendly too. They got allies at the same time.
Can I also say the fact that there are certain things that I was kind of worried about Return of the Jedi as well, even though it is my favorite of the series. There are certain things that I'm like, okay, well, I guess they kind of threw that out the window, and it has to do with Boba Fett.
Sure.
We have little to know nothing about him, and then all of a sudden he just goes out.
By a blind Han Solo.
Yeah, by a blind Han Solo into the pit.
I love it. Boba Fett, where? It just shows you, though, how stumble backwards into situations. It happens for Han Solo, and it happened there to take out Boba Fett. Yes, you could have done way more with him, and instead you kind of turned it into a joke, but at the same time, anything can happen when it comes to battling it out on Tatooine. And I love how Han Solo, Indiana Jones, doesn't matter. One misstep, and you're dead. And that's how it happens with Han Solo and Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and it's perfect. I think they took that from Indiana Jones and were like, you know what, let's have it happen here. And it just ended up working for Harrison Ford, but not so much the character in terms of like just taking down Boba Fett.
That's why I don't get why people care for him so much. I know I'm a minority.
You are, because
there are a lot of people out there that, but I think it's the
Difference.
That masking of secrecy that is Boba Fett. You want to know more about him. You're this ominous character that you know nothing about, but you want to know more about.
No.
And I think that's what but I'm saying I think that's what a lot of people resonate because it is Boba Fett. You have this. Granted, yes, you don't really get a whole lot of him. He's just there. Like, he doesn't even really do a whole lot too. I mean, it's the Empire that gets Han Solo. They are the ones that put him in carbonite. They give it to Boba Fett, and then Boba Fett's just there chilling at Jabba's palace, and then after that he's on the sail barge, and then he kind of goes out, and that's it.
No, there's so much more to it.
There isn't.
Okay, there is. When you go to the root of what Boba Fett is, and that he is a clone of Jango Fett, and you get into the lineage of Jango Fett, who was a Mandalorian. Later, correct. But that's what. But when you watch Return of the Jedi right now, you're carrying this knowledge and energy forward, which helps strengthen the foundations of characters and plot lines because of where they went. And that's the problem that we are having sometimes with things that were done in The Last Jedi, is that certain things don't weave correctly in our minds and our story, but they are there. Now, if you stop to smell the roses and think about those things, you get it. You understand why it goes the way it went in terms of storyline and what they wanted with Luke Skywalker and all this. But at the same time, there is your holding on to certain impressions of how you felt about Boba Fett. Mine has changed over the years because of that deep-seated navigation of the Mandalorians, of Jango Fett, and the fact that Jango Fett's face and Boba Fett's face is every single one of the clone army. So when it comes to seeing the clone army and seeing Rex, and you get back to, hey, he's just a Boba Fett. He is a Jango Fett. Like, they are the same. So to me, I've got that connection with it, even though as a character, yes, it went out very quick, and it was kind of a joke in the end. But in the whole grand scheme of things, like, under that mask, man, it's a clone trooper, which Clone Wars helped with that.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say Clone Wars does very much help with that, and also like the Mandalorian lore as well. They spread it out more in Clone Wars, and I think that's why you get a little bit more. The same thing that happens with him, you also get a little bit more of Anakin as well in those stories for Clone Wars. So it kind of you can kind of see where he's coming from instead of just going from 1, 2, and 3, and it strengthens Return of the Jedi of him coming back and redeeming himself to Luke.
That's what's great about Star Wars. There's so much more to kind of fill in the gaps. And yes, if you went surface value just based on what we do here at Better Late Than Never, it's like, oh, we're watching it for the first time, not knowing anything. But in reality, Star Wars is a whole different beast, and that's why
because you got the games, and you got this whole legend
universe,
everything out there,
and just your imagination from when you played with all the figures when you were kids.
Micro Machine,
of course, the Legos. I mean, everything about Star Wars can be.
And it all comes from the classic trilogy of Star Wars. What we're looking at here,
Return of the Jedi.
Without these 3 movies, we wouldn't have. I'm going to say it, the world that we live in today. We wouldn't have the amount of movie makers that are in this, directors, writers, all have been inspired.
Musician scores.
All from Star Wars. The people who create movies have been inspired by these movies.
And in turn,
entertainment with theme parks, music, video games.
And in turn, though, Star Wars is just an amalgamation of what came before it as well. So that's the best part. Is you go back to the old school storytelling. You got so many of those brought together, and that is what Star Wars is. That just did it in a newer way. And back in the day, those all hit hard too when it came to following and love and belief in those old stories.
So let us know in the comments below what you think of the saga that is Star Wars. What is your favorite Star Wars movie? You know ours is Return of the Jedi, and then it goes to New Hope. Granted, New Hope and Empire Strikes Back I have together as one.
And the nice thing is they come from conversations. Obviously, our picks are exactly the same because of the conversations that we've had, because of the realizations, because of the resolutions, because of the acceptance we've made in conversations through the old original trilogy and the new one. So that's why we tend to land on the same side, is because we see the merit in all the same things and break it down pretty much the same way. Hence why Late to the Party works so well. And then with Travis as well, man, these conversations that we've had forever, they constantly are evolving with every new movie that comes out.
True.
and we did a hell of a review for The Last Jedi. That 2 hours of us just sitting there talking.
Yeah.
And you got to break it down sometimes. That's what we love doing, breaking down Star Wars, because we've broken down Return of the Jedi, New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back a number of times. But now we're doing it for you. So thank you guys for watching our retro reaction to Return of the Jedi and the whole Star Wars original trilogy. Stay on the lookout for our reviews coming for Rise of Skywalker. Look out at all our Mandalorian reactions available on our channel, right? And you guys can like and subscribe.
And do the thing on our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Stardust.
All the social networking joints, you know where they are. Kick into the party, feel the party, keep the party going on our Patreon. Gets us where we need to go. And Star Wars is coming to a finality of sorts. And that leaves only one thing. Santa packs are coming.
Santa's coming, so Better Late Than Never will be airing on Tuesday next week.
Yeah, we are going to release on the Tuesday right before Christmas with our Christmas episode of Better Late Than Never. Until then, check out all the Christmas episodes we've done in the past, and the Christmas special that we've actually done. Has like 8 movies in there all in one, available on our channel now. Thank you guys so much, and as always,
Now it's time to say goodbye.
may the Force be with you.
Always. Whew. Sorry, something went up my nose.